So you're not going to believe it. I was out with my boys the other night. We were getting we were out there. We were getting some food, tasty food. Dave's hot chicken, for those that know, very yummy, yum yum. And I was hanging out with my friends, one of whom who is cool, who's black, I'll say. And I stepped out wearing for the first time in their presence. I was wearing my cool capital jacket, the white cotton like sailor jacket, and what how do I say what they called me? Okay, they said that I looked like I had two baby mamas and a late car payment. So immediately I set about asking, what the fuck do you mean by that? And this piece of shit gate kept the information so goddamn long. Fought me for it. What do you do? River's interrupting my story. Can you see her? No, you can't. She was kicking a little little plush cake slice. Hid the info from me, you know? You got the don't worry about it treatment? Yeah, I did. I did. Yeah. Very unfortunate, you know? I thought they were my friend. Show us the jacket. Watch more of my streams. Oh. The Epstein files are getting worse. Don't you fucking YouTube clickbait title me. What are you with a fucking CoffeeZilla video? What do? You think I'm gonna watch a whole ass CoffeeZilla video right now? This is listen, understand the pecking order. We YouTubers do this to you. You don't do this to us, okay? We need the clean distillation of good information so that we can then produce content and do this to you. He is hitting the absolute cinema. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Hassan already watched the CoffeeZilla on stream, lol. It came out 4 hours ago. Did he really? Huh. Oh, hold on. I forgot. Speaking of coffee. Hey, babe. Could you make me a double espresso? With the nice cup? With the clay one?
Speaking of that, Fran, do you want to show this?
No.
Can I throw this out?
Yes. Love how you ask for a double espresso every time instead of just asking for coffee. I like the double espressos. God, fuck. Flem. That conspiracy Twitch streamer was actually onto something. Bunker under the East Wing expansion. How is that surprising? Okay, no. The Twitch streamer was saying they were building an AI data center. I was saying, of course they're building a bunker. It's under the White House. That's not a conspiracy. Fucking CNN. Milky13, why'd you just tag yourself? Nefarious purpose, no doubt. The POTUS ordered the secret construction of a secure underground facility at the White House and built a new extension of the East Wing on top. It was 1941. How is this all that AI data center stuff? Yeah, it's just a bunker. So it is a data center? No, it's a bunker. Why would they build an AI data center under the White House? That's like the most expensive fucking place you could put it. Why would you? What purpose is there? Data travels at the speed of light. Well, it doesn't need to be at the White House. It's not like a chemical laboratory where the president can, in times of crisis, like march down the stairs and hit the button that ends the world away. It's a data center. They can just put it in Langley. They're putting it in Israel or whatever. Thank you, love.
Tried to make Jake, but I think
You tried to do barista art with an espresso machine in a tiny cup? All right, I won't show them. What do you use to make your coffee? Discerning and attention-paying viewers will know. Jill Biden's ex-husband arrested for murder? If only we can, if only we could get her current husband.
Well, the ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden has been arrested for allegedly murdering his wife. Investigators believe William Stevenson killed his wife Linda after a call to police about a domestic dispute in December. Officers responding to the call found her on the living room floor where she was pronounced dead at the scene. NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach joins us now. Gary, Stevenson was taken into custody just yesterday. He is now in jail after...
Do you think he was mad because he fumbled the woman who would then go on to become the First Lady of the United States?
Failing to post the $500,000 cash bail. What else are we learning? Why did it take authorities so long to make this arrest?
That's one of the big questions we don't actually really have answered yet. Linda Stevenson was found dead on December 28th, and just yesterday, William Stevenson, her husband, was indicted by a Newcastle County grand jury on first-degree murder. Now, the way indictments work in local criminal court in Delaware, it's a one-page indictment. All it says is that...
Bosh, your Automod is racist. It banned me for 3 minutes for speaking Arabic, and I said this was, it was speaking too much nonsense. Automod was correct to be racist against you. It's an English-only chat. Trust me, I've seen what happens in live stream channels when the streamer gets to be permissive of non-primary language speaking. It gets bad real fast. You got all the Turks talking, they're Habibi this and Habibi that. You've got like Chinese people doing, I don't know, casting spells. Everyone forms their own little cliques, okay? We are not repeating the mistakes of the Tower of Babel. We are a one language community, okay?
He has been indicted of that charge. There's no further detail on exactly how the grand jury came to that conclusion. As you say, he does remain behind bars because he was unable to pay a $500,000 bail to get out.
Gary, what more can you tell us about Stevenson's relationship with the former president and first lady? How long were they married? When did they divorce?
Yeah, so Jill Tracy at the time was married to Bill Stevenson for 5 years. They got married in February of 1970 and divorced officially in 1975. And it was during that time where Jill Biden was a student at the University of Delaware. William Stevenson was the owner of this...
very ex-husband, yeah. I mean, Jill and Joe have been together for a long time. But goddamn, man, when she was a student, whew.
Place called the Stone Balloon Club, which is one of the biggest, at the time, one of the biggest music clubs in the country near a college campus. The likes of Bruce Springsteen, the Allman Brothers, Dave Matthews Band, all performed there. Jill Biden, when they got divorced...
Men of the West, this is what you missed out on. You used to be able, for $5 a semester, you could go to your local Ivy League university. You could cut a jig on the floor while like a future oldies hit would be playing live on stage, you know? You could do just insanely large volumes of low-quality cocaine and get wasted and just be great. This was just day-to-day stuff for people who were in school in the 1960s and 70s. Now, of course, we live in a fallen state, and you go to school to, $25,000 a semester so that you can stay indoors and try not to set off the fucking smoke detector by blowing your vape clouds into the fucking cardboard tube with the paper. Do you still do that, or has everyone accepted that everyone smokes weed now, so no one has to do that anymore? Do you still do that with when you're trying to like muffle the smoke? Yeah, my roommate does that. Okay, gotcha.
did try to maintain her half share in that ballroom, but was denied. It's unclear what their relationship has been in the past 45 years or so since they got divorced.
All right, Gary Grumbach, we appreciate it. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Everyone say thanks, Gary. Thank you, Gary. All right. It has to be a shorter stream today because I've got obligations later. So I guess we'll be responsible and talk about, like, important stuff. I don't know. Sounds like a thing we could do.
President Trump is now openly calling for the federal government to take over elections in more than a dozen states. It is prefaced on this, his lie that he won the 2020 election. Listen to what he told podcaster Dan Bongino, who was his deputy FBI director until just a month ago.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places.
At least 15 places.
Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
The Constitution explicitly grants the states, not the federal government,
Really?
not Republicans, the right to run their polls. This comes after the FBI searched an election office in Fulton County, Georgia last week and seized the 2020 ballots. Sources.
There's more audio there. Wasn't the full... Hold on. Because it's just funny listening to him. Hold on. Yeah, give me a little more. Okay, give me a little more of Trump with our former deputy FBI director.
To vote. And they vote illegally. And these people were brought to our country to vote. And they vote illegally. And
Oh, I heard that. I heard that today from Nicki Minaj. 250,000 likes on that tweet. We bring immigrants in to vote. Bitch, you are an illegal immigrant from Trinidad. You're not even from a real country. You're not even from one of the countries that Americans could point to on a map. Like, you're from one of those scary illegal black countries, man. Like, you live in, like, the deepest wakes of the night terrors of the Republican mind.
you know, amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. Now you're going to see something in Georgia where they were able to get, with a court order, the ballots. You're going to see some interesting things come out. But, you know, like the 2020 election, I won that election by so much. Everybody does it. They put a woman in jail, Colorado, put a woman in jail, a wonderful woman.
You know, remember how I said before that a really easy IQ test is whether or not a person can understand hypotheticals? Like, you can ask the question, if X, then what about Y? Like, if theoretically, if this happened, what do you think would be, you know, like, follow through? And low IQ people, I'm speaking generally, of course, right? Like, IQ is the perfect indicator of this, but generally speaking, like, if a person is, like, pretty stupid or, like, mentally not there, they can't really engage with that. You know what else I've noticed? This is like this for me, it's a big low IQ thing. It's also a big mental illness signifier. When a person keeps talking like you already know what they're thinking, it's like they lose their theory of mind. Trump has been like this for ages. The only reason any of us have any idea what the fuck Trump means when he talks is because he's the president and what he thinks is all of our business. But if he was just like a normal guy, nobody would have any fucking idea what he was talking about ever, at any point. He presupposes knowledge every time, you know? If you see most newscasters, not just like on the left or whatever, but like even on Fox News, when they introduce an issue, they like try to set you up for it. Trump never does. He just runs right into it, you know?
72 years old, had cancer. Because she was a voting inspector. She was in charge of a voting area, and she saw boxes of votes come in. So she went over to check it, and they put her in jail for voter manipulation, and she's still in jail. And they better let her out fast. And they're suffering a big price, Colorado. They have this woman in jail who's 71 years old and probably has cancer. She's sick. And they put her in because she challenged somebody that was dumping ballots into a box, okay? And they didn't put them in jail. This was during Biden's term, the worst president in history. And we had some bad ones. I mean, look, Barack Hussein Obama, I call him the Great Divider. Right. People couldn't stand him. You mentioned his name, they go crazy. They start booing the hell out of him. We had some really bad ones. I mean, Jimmy Carter wasn't exactly the greatest. Jimmy Carter didn't exactly have the hit on Venezuela that I had. Remember, his hits, they always turned out to be a disaster. Right. He went out, he had a hit. The helicopters were crashing into each other, the hostages and everything. That's why Ronald Reagan won the election. It was so pathetic. But we do it right. We've got the greatest military. I built the military. You know that in my first term. I built the military, even though they gave a piece of it away, but it's a lot, but it's still a piece compared to what I built. We have the most powerful military. And my attack...
Never forget, by the way, the actual reason that Ronald Reagan won by the margins that he did was that he illegally negotiated through back-end channels. This is actually illegal. In an effort to prolong the Iran hostage crisis after the revolution and the rise of the Ayatollah. Iran-Contra? No, that was afterwards. Nixon did the same? Yes, Nixon did the same. He prolonged the Iran hostage crisis for months, yeah. No, yeah, Iran-Contra was later. I'm blaming that on Israel too. Yeah, go for it. It was literally treason. Oh no, for sure. Like for what Reagan and the people around him did, he should have been hanged on the front lawn of the White House. Like it's the same. The Republican Party has been like this for at least since Nixon. Like Nixon and Reagan were like engaged in capital T high treason. It was, yeah, no, but it doesn't matter. Like none of these laws actually matter, obviously. But yeah, no, it's like really, really, really bad stuff. Debase for YouTube. He's dead. Reagan is dead. The lady Trump's referring to as Tina Peters. Here's a clip of her being sentenced. Didn't we watch this on stream? This demonic fucking woman? Yeah. Judge Tatina, you cannot help but lie, as easy it is for you to breathe.
You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen.
Should have sentenced her to life. I don't think he could do that, but he probably should have done it anyway.
All right, we're here today for sentencing in Miss Peters' case. I
thought they couldn't film in court. Depends on the state.
Into my comments, I'll enter judgment of conviction consistent with the jury's verdicts as to counts 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10.
What'd she do again? Though conveniently for me, convicted of leading a scheme to breach voting system data in a county. But she also was like a big right-wing grifter. Like every day she was out there with the phone camera. She was like raising money over it every day. Like, you know, I'm being persecuted by the state. The deep state wants to silence me for speaking the truth, etc., etc. Yeah, somebody pointed it out earlier, but you reminded me. She said she couldn't go to prison because she needs to sleep on a special magnet bed. She's like this specific brand of freak evangelical. I think she's evangelical, right-wing grifter. And she's rotting in jail right now. Should have given her life.
As it relates to fines, fees, and costs, a $2,000 fine will be ordered as to counts 1, 2, 4, 6. As to counts 8, the maximum fine will be imposed.
Well, anyway, we're not really watching this. We're watching this, actually. Let's not get too distracted.
Back on Iran with, you know, Operation Midnight Hammer, where we wiped out their nuclear threat, which they would have had a nuclear weapon within a month, and we knocked it out. And our attack on Venezuela was, you know, like unbelievable. And the nice thing about Venezuela, we're getting along great now with the government.
Oh, yeah.
We talk to them every single day.
Did you guys see just 2 days ago, Chuck Schumer met with the would-be interim leader of Venezuela, Corchado? He met with her, you know, to discuss their mutual support for democratic transition out of the Maduro government in Venezuela. Machado, thank you, not Corrado. I don't give a fuck. God, I hate him. God, I hate him. Oh my god. Oh my god, I hate him so fucking much. Machado, the idiot who gave her medal away? Yep, Chuck Schumer likes her. Obviously, why wouldn't he?
We took 50 million barrels of oil. It's on its way right now to Houston to be refined. And we're going to help them a lot, and we're going to benefit by it also. It's going to be great. It's going to be an amazing place. You know, it was a great...
In response to the dono that I just got, I just want to make it clear. If it was clear that the government started respecting its own laws and started prosecuting Republicans for all the stuff they've done to destroy this country, they would all shut the fuck up. All of these people are self-interested grifters. The only people that you would get still fighting the fight would be, like, genuinely delusional, mentally ill, like MAGA moms or whatever, you know, trucker dudes. As for everyone in finance, politics, business, all these people would clam out. They would shut the fuck up. They do not, like, all of this is just a convenient envoy for them. If it stopped being that, then they would drop it like a hot iron. None of them believe in anything. Our country is being destroyed by people who care about this country about as much as, I don't know, you do about anything you don't care about. What do you want me to say? It really is. We have been conditioned by media to believe that evil has to be, I guess, purposeful and competent, and in most cases it's neither. You know, it's often quite, like, apathetic. Anyway,
Sources now tell CNN that the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who was on site during the operation, put the president on the phone with some of the FBI agents who carried out that search. Gabbard now says the president asked her to be there and that during the call he did not ask any questions of the agents or give any orders.
we talk about this together, by the way. Director of national intelligence, just for some reason being present for the, like, no reason given, the storming of an elections office in a highly contested area in a swing state.
CNN's Elena Treen is live at the White House. Kate just spoke with one of the Fulton County commissioners there, who says every single election has been fair and free. But now you have this situation with the FBI picking up those votes, and you have the President of the United States making a really disturbing claim. What are you learning about this?
Yeah, look, in some of the conversations I've been having, Sarah, of course, you know, what the president is saying, particularly about this idea of nationalizing elections, is just almost certainly not going to happen. They would have to, it would require changing the Constitution, and many Republican lawmakers, of course.
Really? How's our Fourth Amendment doing, out of curiosity?
See the way that the election process works in the United States, and having the states be the ones who really get to decide a lot of the key parts of that is not going to change. But what this does, really, this rhetoric, is continue a trend and a pattern that we've seen the president continue into his second term in office, which is to continue and, you know, cast doubt on the integrity of the election process in the United States. And of course, Trump himself, and I know he continues to believe this, he still rages about this behind the scenes, this idea that, you know, elections in the United States can be rife with fraud. He still often talks about the 2020 election and falsely claims that he had won it. But then also this idea that perhaps there's some broader conspiracy that Democrats are engaging in to try and
I know the complicity of CNN isn't, like, a new topic to people watching, but man, we are like a decade in. I'm so tired of people going, what the fuck, a dog can't play basketball, as they get dunked on over and over and over again. Like, okay, Trump has been saying shit like this for years. It's not new, right? What we have to acknowledge, or I guess what I wish anyone, anywhere would acknowledge, is that Trump breaks the law constantly, and so far there have been no consequences. Like, liberals love to say Trump breaks the law and there have been no consequences. They hate to say what happens next, right? Because unfortunately, like that, and that's where sort of like the institutionalist analysis fails. What do you do when there are no consequences to breaking the law and the government is breaking the law nonstop? None of them want to answer this question. Judges don't want to, politicians don't want to, media people don't want to. They all want to gesture at it, though, but in a way that's meant to pacify, not to excite, you know? They're like, surely, even though he's broken the law and gotten away with it 100 billion times, surely this is a step too far.
prop up undocumented immigrants, for example, in certain states, and that could also be affecting the election process. Again, all of that without evidence. But I think what we're seeing, what we saw happen last week in Fulton County, Georgia, is one part of this. But we've also seen the president take other steps. One is that the Justice Department is now demanding that several states, including Minnesota, turn over their voter rolls, their full voter rolls, as the Trump administration is really trying to build a national voter file. We also know the president last year had, pushed forward with these executive orders. He signed an executive order in March to make significant changes to the electoral process in the United States, including requiring documentary proof of citizenship and demanding that all mail ballots be received by the times that poll close on election day.
Ballots?
I will say that effort has largely been rebuffed by the courts. But again, this speaks to the broader pattern that the president has been doing, really having his administration in his second term try to put more influence on these election processes. Again, I will say this is something that Republicans, at least a lot of the lawmakers I've talked to on Capitol Hill in recent days or in recent hours, have been saying more of a rhetoric thing. They wish the president wasn't talking.
More of a rhetoric thing. Jesus fucking Christ, I hate this country, man. What about the Fourth Amendment stuff? Was that like just a rhetoric thing? Dude, isn't it fucking crazy how Democrats keep saying that Congress needs to push to force ICE to have to use judicial warrants rather than administrative warrants to enter homes when that was already the law? I still can't, like, that to me is mind-boggling. It's the clearest cut example of a violation of the Constitution. They could just say he's violating the Constitution, but instead, for literally no reason, none, like there's no benefit to it, they're like, well, we should change it so that's against the law, as if it isn't already. The only reason they would want to do that is if they're so committed to pretending that they have power, that they always, sit down and refill your popcorn. You're going to love what doesn't happen next, basically. They want to keep you enthralled. Oh, maybe they'll make it illegal to enter people's homes without a judicial warrant, even though that's already fucking illegal. Can't wait.
About this, they want to be focusing on other issues ahead of the midterms, but still something, of course, we're likely to see continue by this president moving forward.
Yeah, and this isn't happening in a vacuum because in the special elections, the Republicans have gotten trounced a few times. And so there is that, as well as the 2026 midterms are fast approaching. Elena Treen, thank you so much for your reporting there from the White House.
President Trump is taking his false claims about the 2020 election result and kicking it up a notch.
Don't even enforce the law anymore. They just hear like this. Biden and Merrick Garland. Do you think Biden and Merrick Garland didn't do it because of Israel or like anything related to Epstein? Or do you think it was more of a broad, like, no president must face consequences for their actions kind of thing? Because given how, like, dude, the Epstein files, like, more shit gets found out every day from the most recent drop. It's still only 20%. The man had his hands in everything, not just children, like absolutely everything. It's crazy. Basically, so obviously, like everything in Israel, American tech, finance, so many cultural touchstones that he was involved in. I saw there was this one Euro poster on Twitter who was like, I can't believe it. Basically everything on this continent has been manufactured for the past 20 years. I feel sick. A bit of an overstatement, but the sentiment is pretty true. I still don't know how Jeffrey did all this. He seems like a dumbass. Because the conceit was always wrong. If you're very wealthy and connected, you don't need to be smart. Many great kings. Listen, there's basically one thing that has truly distinguished the great from the mediocre historically, and that is war. War is the one venue where mediocrity is punished, often in a capital fashion. That's it. If you look throughout history, many of the people who were both very powerful and very competent, they lived in times where you had to be, or you would be captured on the battlefield and executed, and that would be that, or at least ransomed off, you know? Our founding fathers, for the most part, were pretty smart. Plenty of mistakes they made, plenty of stupid shit they said and believed, immoral stuff, but looking back on them, it's pretty tough to argue they're dumb. Over time, as the world has gotten more peaceful, our leaders have gotten stupider because it's been easier to get away with owning the entire world without anyone calling them on it. The Cold War and the nuclear proliferation made it even worse because now there really are no consequences. Like what the fuck is going to dethrone American leadership? What are you going to do? What possible, like, at least before World War II, it was conceivable that America could fall. America wasn't a superpower until after World War II. Prior to World War II, like from like 1930s and back, it was conceivably possible that America could have fallen in the same way that any other country could have fallen. You know, it was only after, you know, Monroe Doctrine and nuclear weapons and so on. Like, now we're on top of the world. But before that point, there were some stakes. Now there are none. It used to be if you were a bad businessman, you know, for the most part, like, unless you had really, 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 like, deep connections in government or with your fellows, you could potentially get, like, bought out, or you could get fucking, like, killed, man. You go back 200 years, a lot of people in powerful positions died from, like, just not being on their fucking game. Now, Darwin is, you know, there's no more Darwin Award shit going on, right? Like, everyone gets to live no matter what. Power flows upward, money flows upward. There are no consequences to failure. So, from Epstein to Elon to Trump to Biden to everyone in power now is stupid and mediocre. Because why wouldn't they be? Like, they're experiencing the cognitive equivalent of having their head kicked in by a horse every day. They're hyper wealthy and surrounded by yes men. Do you have any idea how stupid you would be if you have everything in the world and every guy around you is always telling you how smart you are? Holy shit. Not to mention all the drugs they do. Like, you would genuinely, like, your brain would be fucking mush, and these people rule the world. So no, it does not take big brains to rule the world, you know? Not these days. Sorry, a bit of a ramble there, but yeah.
It seems now ahead of the midterms, he's calling on Republicans to nationalize voting, to take over the voting in more than a dozen states, he says, essentially saying that he wants to throw out the Constitution and the powers explicitly given to states by the Constitution when it comes to our elections. Add to that now what happened last week. The FBI searching an election office in Fulton County, Georgia. You're seeing video of it here, seizing 2020 ballots.
100 years ago, most ultra wealthy had personal servants that told them how to act human. Well, there'd be consequences to them not doing it, because if you were a robber baron and you didn't know how to interact with the factory workers that you had to manage, like, they would fucking string you up. Legitimately, though, like, it's gotten so, like, okay, I'll put it this way. Machiavelli could not have written what he wrote if he lived today, because the amount of scheming that it took back then to navigate, you know, I don't know, the Medici, you know, the power networks that be incomparable to the shit today. All of that stuff back then, it doesn't apply anymore. All of these tactics, not necessary, you know? The world has gotten dumber for the elite. The average person is smarter. Maybe. Though the average person today is probably stupider than they were like 30 years ago. At least in, like, America, right? Probably not the case in, like, I don't know, places that are developing. Machiavelli was a fail son, but a good writer, though. Though being a good writer doesn't do much for your command skills, it seems. No, not really. The average person is dumb. I think it's more that I think that the average person now is less interested in being knowledgeable than they used to be. Being knowledgeable has, for most of human history, been almost, like, universally been regarded as a kind of good, even in, like, pre-modern cultures where they value certain types of knowledge, maybe not all types, right? Maybe there were religious reasons you wouldn't value some kinds, but for the most part, I think people have, like, driven towards that. It's a pretty good, like, element of, you know, social survival in most cases. Unfortunately, now that we get everything basically handed to us for free, it kind of seems like people are done with that. You know, it's not really much of a point. People don't really like being intelligent anymore. It's cringe to be intelligent. Well, it's not cringe to be intelligent, I guess. It's more cringe to aspire to intelligence. That's a better way of putting it, which is really unfortunate, because obviously being smart is good and being dumb is bad. Like obviously. That's why ableism is the one true bigotry. It's not bad to be black. It's not bad to be a woman. It's not bad to be trans. It is bad to be stupid. It's just a fact of the world, man. I'm sorry. We haven't said you don't got to go running around, you know, bopping people on the head for being a slower reader than you, but I do think we should be meaner to people who are anti-intellectual. Much meaner. I think that in a lot of ways, being anti-intellectual is more of a kind of moral crime than being many other kinds of bigoted, because it's sort of like the bigotry, isn't it? There are very few people who are racist, but also like deeply dedicated to the rational processes. Whereas being cognitively anti-intellectual is like, you're like stabbing it at the root, basically. You're like killing it at the base, you know? It's not good. Yeesh. Sorry, what did this have to do with what I was saying? It has nothing to do. Let me wrap this up. Sorry. I've just been free balling it. So the reason Trump is talking about nationalizing the elections is because he knows that he is going to get turned inside out in the midterms. Like the midterms, it's basically inevitable. There's no way it isn't going to happen, I don't think. The failures of the National Democratic Party don't reflect as badly on the many, many individual candidates in the midterms. Midterms are seen as more of a free-for-all than the primary election because presidents represent the party. So even if people don't like the Democrats, they probably do like all their individual Democratic candidates. The fact that lately we've been seeing special elections flip 10, 12, 15, 16, 17, 30 points over to the left, insane and almost unprecedented, like very, very rare, you know, in American history. So the reason Trump is talking about this is because he's been informed by people around him. He probably hasn't been informed that he's going to get his ass kicked. He's probably been informed that their sources tell them that great voter fraud is afoot, because I maintain my belief that Trump cannot lie. He is not smart enough to lie. He doesn't have that like that filter. So he probably does think that like for the good of the nation, voting has to be nationalized. Thankfully, this is basically impossible. I don't think that Trump is capable of stopping what's going to happen in the midterms. For one, even if he somehow manages to put his foot down and keep red states from flipping around, that wouldn't stop the blue states. In the United States, elections are conducted by the states. It's in the Constitution. You know, all the blue states, like, you're still going to see some major flips there. But also, in addition to that, I really do think that the kind of concerted, overwhelming, militarized effort that it would take to put your foot down on all of the thousands of polling places all around the United States that are in red states alone, I don't really think it's doable, to be honest. I don't really think it's possible. Like, ICE wouldn't even be remotely enough. Like, literally, like, ICE doesn't have a fraction of the manpower necessary to do this. You would have to call in the National Guard, and then you would have to trust that all of the commanders of all the different National Guard detachments across the United States would be okay with not only sending military to polling stations, which is insane, but also encouraging their men to start papers pleasing people, which they can't even do. He would have to invoke the Insurrection Act, and even then, I don't think that, like, on what legal pretext? There's no reason for police officers to be doing that in front of polling stations either. So they would have to like invent a new law. It would be I don't think it's doable. I don't think it's doable. Here is Senator Thune playing this off. Remember, we have the House and the Senate are very different from the side of the Republicans. Mike Johnson has made his career being Trump's personal toilet paper. You know, like he will just eat his ass no matter what. Anything Trump says goes. Remember that one like 12-hour stint where Mike Johnson was like, yes, Trump is in the Epstein files, but only as an informant for the FBI. And then he just dropped it. Like, it was like somebody around him told him like, dude, that's too far. What are you doing? You just came up with that on your own. That's awful. What are you doing? You know? God, that was funny. Senator Thune, on the other hand, I think wants to continue having a career after Trump is buried. So he doesn't go along with Trump's like worst impulses.
Do you agree with President Trump saying that we should nationalize some of the federal elections in the country? And also, do you have any concerns about DNI Gabbard's presence at that Fulton County operation in Georgia?
I don't know what she was doing in Fulton County. You'll have to ask her about that. But with respect to nationalizing elections, I think the president has clarified what he meant by that, and that is that he supports the SAVE Act. So with respect to whether or not...
Of course he's playing it off, but he's also not like engaging with it, basically. He's essentially saying like, I don't know what he's on about. I'm just here, you know?
That signifies ensuring that only
these people would make good Ghoul cosplayers. I think, okay, I know that people get mad at me when I say this, because I do think that evil makes you ugly. It is really funny. Thune is still evil, but he's relatively sane as modern day Republicans go. Thune looks like a Giga Chad. Every other person here looks like a fucking freak.
citizens of this country.
Like, Thune looks super. If I look like that when I'm like 65, fuck, okay. Sure, sure, I'll be out there at the fucking beach, you know? Hell yeah, you know? Everyone else here looks like a fucking risen zombie. It's crazy.
Vote in our elections. That's something I think we all agree with. There are other views probably when it comes to nationalizing or federalizing elections, but I think at least on that narrow issue, which is what the Save Act Gets Act, I think that's what the president was addressing.
Cotton looks like such a freak. He really does. Zarfen the Loot Goblin, my favorite Diablo 2 channel. Yeah. Wait, what does CBS have to say about this?
President Trump says Republicans should nationalize voting here in the U.S. This was during an appearance on Dan Bunch.
But here in the a company has been talking
this feel like a road
that the White House.
No, okay. I wanted to know if there was a follow-up statement they were pulling from Trump, maybe during a phone call, but it seems like they're just riffing about it, you know. Tom Cotton is my rep and I hate him. Why'd you vote for him then? Jackass. You idiot. Look, I don't think that the Dems are good at all. But it will be a better country when they control the House. Right now, you know, Mike Johnson has a 1-seat majority, like pretty thin as it is. I'm sure that they'll still somehow manage to pass the pro-Israel spending bills or fund ICE or whatever, but at the very least, it won't be worse. Are you still against voting third party? I just don't think it does anything. And I think that the math agrees with me on that, you know. It seems kind of like a way of abdicating responsibility for your choice, when the real choice is like this, that, or not voting, I guess. Like, third party is just like a more pretentious way of not voting, it kind of feels like. Base Pedro Sanchez on social media. Didn't they just nice. Speaking of European countries being based, Paris police raid ex-offices as part of expanded criminal probe. Prosecutors are investigating allegations including spreading anti-Semitic content and child porn. They also asked to meet with Elon Musk. Where is he? Fucking kicking down the door. Man, I really want the EU. Like, speaking of nothing ever happens, the EU has been threatening to ban Twitter for years now, because Elon has been like flagrantly violating their laws. You know, so far nothing has happened. Of course, who knows what a European country means when they say anti-Semitic, right? The EU sounds like Dems? Yeah, to an extent, yeah. The European Union suffers from a lot of the same problems. Like, a global liberalism is dying. It's not just the Democrats. It's never coming back. Whatever version of liberalism was possible between, I guess we'll just start with 1776 because I'm an American chauvinist, and now, like, that version is not, it has to change for the future if it's going to survive. And it has to change, like, a lot. It's not good. The USA is lobbying the French government to not ban Le Pen. Well, yeah. Yeah. We've been doing this since Trump came in. At the very least. Yeah. They've been pushing for, like, all the far right parties in the European Union to stay afloat, you know. You see the stuff in the Epstein files where they were discussing Le Pen as like a Russian asset? Really funny. I mean, we already knew that, I guess, but... Was Epstein so bad the French dropped the pedophilia? Are you suggesting, like, Epstein might have been bad enough to negatively polarize French people against pedophilia? Fascinating, if true. She got banned from running elections for that already. Wouldn't it be based if we could ban people from running in elections here in America? That'd be so cool. We just have to do it to the right people. The Norway princess is in the files. Okay, isn't the Norway princess like 30? She couldn't have done much wrongdoing in the files. Wouldn't it be like when she was 4, she was brought to a boat or something? Like, I don't... She's 53? Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of a different... Who am I thinking of then? Isn't there... I guess there are a lot of princesses. Not because she was doing anything, more just because she was in love with Epstein for some reason. Fascinating. Well, I guess he was probably a charismatic guy. I assume that was part of his job. Email between Epstein and Peter Thiel talking about how they plan to destroy the world just like Brexit. What was that tweet? You, when you order cocaine, sweating profusely as you order 3 grams, like with cryptocurrency off the net. Paranoia every time you hear a police siren in the distance. Epstein and his friends talking about how they're going to rape kids and control the world. Hey, you catching me up at the rape kids and control the world party? See you there. Cool. From Epstein to Peter Thiel. Return to tribalism, counter to globalization, amazing new alliances. You and I agreed 0 interest rates were too high. 0 interest rates were too high. What did I tell you guys about lowering interest rates and which kinds of people like that? As I said in your office, finding things in their way to collapse, much easier to find the next bargain. From Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel. Brexit, just the beginning. Yeah. Super cool. It's super fascinating how Epstein seems to share every single belief the global right wing does, you know? Tribalism over globalism, 0% or lower interest rates, infinite like power to wealthy people. Really fascinating. Please explain how they think 0 is too high. They want it to be negatives. They want the government to give them free money for borrowing money. Have you seen America's probably driving the separatist movement in Canada? Yeah. We talked about this a little bit. How the fuck would that work? The Japanese did it. What if we did a usury? Negative interest rates technically are the exact opposite of usury. You're not charging interest on a loan. You're being charged interest on a loan. I mean, technically, it's actually as far from usury as anything could ever be. You're agreeing both to give money to wealthy people and also give them interest on the money you've given them. It's crazy. Infinite money hack? Yes. That essentially, yes. What kind of cultural revolution does America need at this point? Dog, it's not just America, man. Pretty much all the West. It's pretty clear, based on the files, that Epstein and the people around him had more or less complete control over the, well, complete control is an overstatement, I guess, had extremely strong influence over America, the West, to an extent like post-Soviet Russia and their affiliated countries, you know, and the Middle East, right? Like Saudi Arabia, Israel, obviously, so on and so on. Huge amounts of control, right? Did not have anywhere near as much influence in Asia, Africa, etc. Latin America, too. Not a huge amount of control in Latin America. By the way, I should say, important to note, consistently, the only thing that Epstein and his cohorts were against in these emails, the only thing you see them out against, because they're in favor of everything, man, you know, child rape, etc., is communism. Every time they're mad at a guy, every time, it's communism. They don't like Bernie Sanders. They don't like Jeremy Corbyn, you know? Oh, Norm Finkelstein. That's Mr. Bonelli. That guy. Norm Finkelstein was in the files. You're devastated, I know. But you should know why he was in the files. I believe it was him telling Epstein and Bannon to kill themselves? Or something to that effect, if I remember correctly. It just goes to show, the more you hate Israel, the better a person you are. And I am not a general like Finkelstein Glazer, but it's crazy how like stark that line is. You know, the liberals were like, you can't make everything about Israel. It turns out like a lot of stuff, like at the very least, there's a strong correlation between affiliation with Israel and being a fucking monster. It wouldn't surprise me if there was equivalent in the East of Epstein types. Of course, yeah. There's not just one Epstein, right? Right now, Epstein's network is definitely still being maintained by other people. Like, it's not just one guy or whatever. It is a consequence of power relations. You know, it's a material. Like, yeah, no, there's you've created like an environment in which an Epstein can happen. It's not just the one Epstein. You know, Epstein was not like a unique Ubermensch who defied the material conditions of his time and strode the world in spite of them. You know, he was just a guy elevated by, in most, you know, for the most part, globalization and the, you know, overwhelming income inequalities that led to the wealth disparity we have today. So you're saying it was always socialism or pedophilia? Yes. And you know what else I'm saying? I really do wish that Epstein had made it just a little bit farther into the future, just lived a little bit longer. You know why? He would fucking despise Mamdani. Mamdani could have campaigned on it. You know? That would have been really, really good. Guarantee you. He's a New Yorker, too. I mean, you know, it would have been like right in his fucking doorstep. Literally. Despised Mamdani. Guarantee it. 100%. Wasn't he a Jewish supremacist too? Yeah, he was racist as fuck. He was talking with Ehud Barak about, what was it he said? I think this was actually from an audio file. Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, was saying that they wanted to do something to attract more people to Israel because it used to be that they had to just make a citizen out of any Jew that arrived. But if lots and lots of Jews arrived, they could pick out the highest quality Jews and ignore the ones from like North Africa. Something like that. Yeah, that's the gist of it. It's fascinating how much all these people ideologically overlap with the far right, you know? Former prime minister, man. Jesus Christ. No, anyway. What was I even? Was there a point to all that? Epstein stuff. Oh, I get, if we're concluding like the Epstein stuff bit, Chomsky's fucking done, dog. The photos of him palling around with Epstein and Steve Bannon are bad enough. He sent an email. Well, he provided evidence or support to Jeffrey Epstein. He sent him like advice on how to manage the PR of the whole being a pedophile thing. I've watched the horrible way you're being treated in the press and public. It's painful to say, but I think the best way to proceed is to ignore it, etc., etc. it kind of like it basically invalidates Chomsky's entire like basically, like, how could you ever believe Chomsky believed anything that he wrote and wasn't just a cynic narcissist who took advantage of his station? If with shit like this in the background, because it goes beyond just like personal failings here or whatever, like being close friends with the deep state guys running the world. Manufacturing consent, I can't believe it. In fairness, not Epstein, sorry, maybe he did, I don't know. Chomsky co-wrote that. He's not the only author on manufacturing consent. Most of the theory came from the other guy. Well, I'd like to believe that. It's not just that he's a piece of shit, it's that he can't actually believe any of the stuff he said, right? This isn't about, like, him personally being a bad guy. It's like his whole theory of the world and the positions that he claimed to have just don't survive his... It goes beyond, like, oh, he was a bit of a hypocrite or whatever, you know? Didn't it come out Chomsky also intentionally squashed people in academia who came out with research and theories that countered his own? Yes, that's been known to an extent for a while. Though obviously this kind of puts it in a different light, you know? I guess it shifts it from conceited, entitled, self-obsessed, you know, academic savant over into this guy was always just riding the high of his fame and never believed a single goddamn thing that he said. Was regularly meeting with Ehud Barak as well. It's fucking crazy, man. Everything is Epstein. Hold on. There are some things that aren't Epstein, like coffee. Hey, love? Could I have another coffee? You can let River in, yeah. But also, I want coffee. Okay, exchange. Yeah. Yes, excellent.
Let them know I also work a job.
Here, we made a trade. My coffee cup for River. Also, my partner wants you all to know that they have a job. They're very impressed.
And it's not just making you cough.
All right. Zizek is the only real one. He's too Balkan to warrant the attention of Epstein. True. That's true. Epstein only raped, like, white babies or something. That's what I see people on Twitter posting. Actually, it seems most of the girls they trafficked and killed were post-Soviet. They were, like, Russian girls after the formation of the Russian Federation, you know? You swap over nations and bureaucracies, a bunch of people get lost in the paperwork. It makes sense. Melania type shit? Yeah, that's where they got her from. Not really, but, you know. It's confirmed they were killing the girls after using them as slaves. Yeah, but isn't that, like, to be expected? They trafficked thousands of people over the course of their career. There's no way, like, you could never have, like, that operation can't be sustained if you're just leaving a bunch of witnesses. There are references to tons of murders. Apparently, Epstein evidently had a hand in the murder of RFK Jr.'s wife, who was previously thought to have committed suicide. But there are some very damning emails in the Epstein files that that indicate not only that there was an interest in killing her, but, like, I think literally after an email was sent to Epstein saying that RFK Jr.'s wife was found hanging, and Epstein replied with "whoops." And there were other emails where they were talking about, like, getting her ass, basically. So yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. Killed lots and lots of people. Crazy how evil they are. Crazy how they still run everything, you know? actual end of Epstein stuff. Is your coffee done yet? Hey, don't rush my partner. I'm sure they have a very good reason why they're late. Thank you. Thank you. River escaped. All right. Oh God, what's happening here? Sorry, this is on the front page of AP News. Immigration officers with guns drawn arrested some activists who were trailing their vehicles on Tuesday in Minneapolis. A sign that tensions have not eased. Wow, really? That's crazy. Looks like this ICE agent's grabbing this guy's dick. Fucking gay. Yeah. All's more the same. The actual reason I pulled this up. Where the fuck is it? There we go. The Clintons are coming in to testify. House Republicans have been pushing for them to. They've been issued a subpoena, and the Clintons refused to come in. And then the House Republicans said, "We will have you arrested," and the Clintons said, "Okay, we'll come in." Who's going to ask who Bubba is in the email? Look, I wish nothing but the worst for the Clintons. You know, I'm fully okay with them being hung out to dry, but like obviously them bringing the Clintons in as opposed to like every single fucking other person listed in the files. Like we know why the Republicans want to bring them in. I also don't really know why they're doing this because the Clintons don't have much to fear, and I feel like they could just keep saying over and over, like, yeah, I was there also, I saw Trump rape a kid. I don't know, like, it's, you. I feel like you're kind of, by insisting they be there, you're only, like, drawing more attention to the issue and, like, opening up the possibility that they just, it's yeah, I don't get it. Then again, the Clintons are so in bed with the deep state, it's possible they refuse to do that, to avoid, like, giving info away to the people who are still embroiled in this. Nice try, Fed. That was at you, save point. Hillary will testify before the House Oversight Committee on February 26th, and Bill will arrive on the 27th. It'll mark the first time lawmakers have compelled a former president to testify. Insane, by the way, considering how many times the nefarious schemes of previous presidents have been uncovered, that at no point in all of American history has Congress ever dragged any of them in. Like, why not? They're public servants. They were, but like it's the pretty big job, you know. I like the idea, oh, you just get to coast by forever now. Fuck off. Maybe there isn't as much on Bill as everyone thought there was. Actually, based on what we've seen in the files, it seems like there is less. Like he seems to be a lot less embroiled in the bad stuff than Donald Trump. Obviously, that doesn't like abdicate him because he's still fucking there. But yeah, Trump was his best friend. Epstein's, I mean. So there's probably more material to work with there. What was that one bit? In the most recent Epstein file release, Trump is mentioned more times than Harry Potter is in all of the Harry Potter books combined. Yeah, level 5 pedophile versus level 100 pedo lord. Comer, a Kentucky Republican, said the Clintons had expressed a desire to make the proceedings public, but he would insist on a closed-door testimony. Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense, yeah. Republicans might push to make this a closed-door testimony. That way they can publicize the bad stuff and keep hidden anything else. The Clintons guaranteed will push for it to be open, because that severely limits what the House can do to them. God, I hate these people. That link doesn't work, Clown Copter. Nine Democrats out of 21 on the oversight panel voted to advance charges against Bill Clinton. That is, I'm surprised it's so many, that so many Democrats would be willing to advance these. I wonder if they're, like, just tired? I don't know. Typically, like, the perpetual in-party loyalty, you know, it just goes on forever. That's what I was telling you about a few streams ago. Well, Masaigu, I'm sorry that I have the slower mental processing power of a fucking gaijin and not the advanced, you know, Japanese hardware that you're working with, fueled by your superior stationary and your meditative methods. And no doubt, like, a high level of feng shui in your computer room, okay? My apologies. I have the opposite of feng shui in my room. I have my desk pressed up against the wall in a little, like, cubby, and then against the wall I've duct taped a bunch of sponges that absorb the carbon dioxide as I exhale. It's a sound dampening method that works very well, but it's slowly killing me. It's actually very funny to imagine. Oh, fuck. Okay, sorry. That left the Clintons with little choice but to agree to testify or face one of the most severe punishments Congress can give. A stern talking to. Are you guys excited for the Democrats to body Republicans in the midterms, make up a majority of the Oversight Committee, and then refuse to subpoena Trump? Isn't that going to be so much fun? We're focused, while Trump is up to some monkey business, we're standing on business. We're not going to waste your time. We're moving forward into the next 2 years of Trump's presidential term. I think J.K. Rowling's in the files. She is. Yeah. Like, multiple times. All billionaires are pedophiles? Yes. You know, people used to get mad at me when I said that. I used to say that, being a billionaire was just like an innate pedophilia signifier. People in chat were like, that doesn't seem right to me. And now, like, look where we are, man. Look where we are. Holy shit. God damn, vindicated. Howard Lutnick literally said he wanted to have intercourse with kids in the files. Yeah, and he has, like, a higher paying job than you now, so who was right? Dumbass. The mandate grows. Oh, yeah. He's now above water in the in upstate New York. Isn't that crazy? Mamdani's favorability has been growing rapidly. Was net -8 in September versus +16 now. That's insane. +48 in New York City, which is the only, this is polling in New York State, okay? In New York City, he's +48, okay? He rules with an iron fist, Assadist margins, like +48, that's what? That's 74 to 26? That's insane. Who the fuck cares what upstate New York thinks? Suburbs, upstate, GOP minus 48. Yeah. Indeed. Even with white people, +2. Even with white people, their souls touched by darkness. Hey, I'm upstate. Miss Genderlyn, you don't have to admit that. Black plus 55 is really good, isn't it? He was struggling with that demo in the election. Yeah, black people on average tend to vote more conservatively in Dem primaries than white people do. But in the general electorate, black people might as well all be like, you know, chauvinistas for how reliably they're pro. Yeah, they're literally like the vote blue no matter who demographic, which, you know, can't really blame them considering how Republicans treat them. Oh, Vosh, I live in Albany, fuck you. Why would you... Can't... Listen, if you guys in chat said, I live in New York, I would just assume you lived in the city, and then you'd be cool in my eyes. You don't have to, like, self-report, okay? I don't know what his wife is wearing, but I like it. Looks like a coat. Many coats allow you to button the neck like this for extra warmth. I love her hair. She's very pretty. Damn, Hochul's actually pretty popular. Sending rockets, Dana. Hello, Ice? What the fuck is this? MAGA adult male assaults Texas high school students protesting ICE. Is this the one where they drove into the girl? No, this looks different. 13 hours ago. What the fuck? What is this format? They all want to do this, by the way. Attack a high school girl? Yeah, obviously. Look at after Renee Good was murdered, they were all like, this reminds me, this looks like an older version of a girl who rejected me in high school. Like, yeah, the MAGA mind is obsessed with underage girls. What'd the maggot do? He tackled this girl for some fucking reason? There's his red hat. Why would you try to fight 20 teenagers? That's like a death sentence. Well, I guess he thought he was only fighting one teenager. But yeah, no, classic mistake. You know, everyone thinks, oh, I'm in the prime of my life. I could easily beat up 20 teenagers. In reality, no. What you forget is that you accumulate damage over time and they don't, you know? Like, what you're thinking is, you know, I'm much stronger than them. What they're thinking is, if this guy twists his lower back the wrong way just slightly, it's over. You forgot every 5 there's a mini-boss? That's true. Dude, I wrestled with the mini-boss in my high school. I was in wrestling class back in sophomore year. I was like relatively young because I was sophomore and I'd skipped a grade in elementary school. So I was like 13 or whatever. And I was wrestling with juniors and seniors, but it was fine because I was a really big kid. And I know it's difficult to like get this from how I look now, but I was like, I hit 6'2" in middle school and I was fucking like yoked younger. My deadlift was just shy of 400. So they put me up against the bigger kids, but there's always a bigger fish. Okay. This guy, I don't know how to put it. He's like a golem or like an ogre. He's fucking massive, like 6'8". Guy must have weighed like 350 pounds. Anyway, he had a hard time finding like wrestling partners when we were doing practice. So I went up against him one time, and he fucking knocked me over so hard I broke a toe, and then I stopped showing up to wrestling class. I should have kept at it. He was cool. Wasn't his fault. Wasn't his fault. He was fucking massive. Anyway, yeah, every 5 high school girls you beat up, one of those guys shows up to rock your shit. Which toe? Left index toe? I think? I don't know. It was a while ago. Wrestling team, you should have known you were gay from the get-go. Ah, but my first wrestling partner was a muscular girl, 2 years older than me, which is the dream of a lot of you people. You're like, you know, I could only fantasize. For me, that was my life. So just, yeah, stay mad. That's still gay? That's fair. What the fuck did I put in the title today? Let's find out. It's a short stream. I have D&D on Tuesdays. Tuesday's the D&D day, you know. Oh, right, Iran. What happened with that drone we fired at? Anything to that? I know that Israel's pushing for us to bomb Iran again. You see Tallarico's response to Allred's video? According to him, he said Allred ran a mediocre campaign, not that Allred was mediocre. Yeah, okay, so did he ever say black? Like, black man? Listen, okay, I fucking despise Allred. If Tallarico could say some pretty bad stuff to Allred, and I would defend it. But he didn't. Because Tallarico's the nicest guy on earth. So why the fuck would he do that? Why the fuck would Tallarico just randomly be like, Colin Allred is a mediocre black man? Even if it's true. Why would he say that? Fucking Oppo hit piece shit. God, and that TikTok girl who was posting about it. Jesus Christ, these people. Oh, man. Where's the Iran drone thing? Hold on. Crockett is so bad she had beef with the Texas State Dem Party. That's why the DNC is back in Delaware. I am not resting on my laurels on this one, okay? Still fully prepared for Crockett to launch a race war against the white and Latin people of Texas. Downing of the drone. I've read, though I don't know how reliable it is, I've read that obviously Israel right now is pushing for another round of bombs dropped on Iran, and Trump doesn't seem that interested. Sounds true. Well, it makes sense. Like, Trump's narrative is that he cured the Middle East of its war forever, you know? Like, by bombing Iran to stop the production of its nuclear weapons, he saved the region and everything's fine. He doesn't want interminable conflict. He wants, like, quick endings to things. He wants, like, snappy, you know? Israel, of course, wants permanent war. I guess we'll see if anything comes of this. Seems kind of weird for Iran to risk moving a drone that quickly to a carrier fleet right now. It's not like they want to be bombed. They launched a second drone. Well, we'll see if the second drone comes as close to it as the first drone. It's to distract from the 35,000 dead protesters. How many dead protesters are there actually? Hold on. Iran protest death count. A lot? Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big number. WAPO says 6,800. At least 6,800. The 35,000 is from the government of Iran. They probably wouldn't want to be like, they wouldn't want to represent that number honestly, though. Local health officials. Maybe. What is this in Israeli WAPO death toll years? Yeah, it's like calculating the age of a dog, you know? Like, what, factor in how Western media overreports casualties of the Iranian regime, but then multiply it by the Gaza factor, which is like how we typically talk about dead brown people, you know? There's like a bunch of math you have to do. Really nasty business. And they've died down, right? Like, it seems like they haven't really led to that much, apart from scars that'll take, you know, that'll never heal, basically. Time published an article entitled Iran Protest Death Toll Could Top 30,000. It claimed as many as 30,000 people could have been killed in the streets of Iran, based on the accounts of two senior officials in the country's Ministry of Health, whose identities were not revealed for security reasons. Bit shaky. The magazine admitted in the text that it did not possess any means to independently confirm that number. Either way, it's a lot of people, and it's very bad. Very, very bad. It may die down, but it's not gone. Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea what it's going to take for the Iranian people to be able to overwhelm the IRGC. They're having enough times as it is. 36,000 according to Iraqi media. I don't necessarily it's fine, yeah. It's a lot of people. We're not hoping to settle on a number where we can go, well, glory to the Ayatollah, you know? That's not too bad. As a Teo writer estimated about 17,000, that's conservative IMO. It's probably, yeah, somewhere in the mid-20s. That seems likely. Well, I hope something comes of it that isn't like, I don't know, Israeli conquest of the country. Yeesh. Close that, close that, close that, close that, close that. Okay. I plan on going until 2. What are you guys up to? I just got here. It feels like you're going to end stream. No, I'm not ending stream for at least 30 minutes, but I only had a couple of things in mind today. Like I said, you know, right now, a good number of my neurons are taken up by the D&D prep that I have to do. So, you know, I've got time. I'm here. What are we looking at? You see the Mega Man Assault Kids? Kid beats him up. Yeah. We just looked at that, actually. Didn't have much interesting to say about it, though. I'm sorry to say. Tactical slur deployment in Minnesota. Now we're talking.
Yeah, families should be ripped apart. That's kind of our energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
Wow. Wow, is that a question? Wow. Okay. How do you feel about ripping people from their family? Does that feel good? Fucking house nigga in here.
I heard it.
Fucking house nigga working for the fucking KKK. What the fuck's wrong with you people? Why are you calling a woman a man? Sir, I mean, what kind of a guy does that? Fucking house nigga, bitch.
Sorry I'm late. What are you all up to question? We're watching a black ICE agent get called the N-word, but it's good, so we can like smile about it. We've set up circumstances where it's acceptable for us to be happy about it. Damn, man. At what point can we like publicly acknowledge that the ICE campaign in Minnesota is a race war? Because every single fucking ICE agent is black or brown. What the fuck? Dude. Are you a man? That's white language, okay? Keep that out of your mouth. You don't need to worry about all that.
We should rip people apart from their families. Are you a man? Wow. Wow, is that a question? Wow. Okay. How do you feel about ripping people from their families? Does that feel good? Fucking house nigga in here. Sir, I need to move house.
Why didn't they just ask him if he was a bitch? I agree they should have asked him if he was a bitch, but it is important to remember that in the United States, it's actually very, very weird to ask like a federal officer, hey, why are you breaking the law? And then the federal officer calls you the T-slur, basically. That's not like a normal, that's not like the typical, you know, engagement.
Nigga working for the fucking KKK. What the fuck's wrong with you people? Why are you calling a woman a man? Sir, I mean, what kind of a guy does that? Fucking house nigga, bitch.
I hope the guy saying that is white. Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Black man shows up to white sundown town, heckled by white crowd. Yeah, you think you're progressive, and yet here you are watching a black man getting run out of a white suburb. You really think you're the good guy here, leftoids?
Hey, I need you to back up. You need to back up. Stay safe.
They're pointing handguns at the drivers in the vehicle right now.
Hey, get back. You guys need to stay back. You can record, but you gotta be back.
Hey, open your fucking door.
I need you to back up a little bit more. Hey, get back.
Hey, get the fuck back.
Back. Hey, no, don't get on the road. Stay back over here. Okay.
Can you believe people kicked Will Stansel out of these signal groups because he wanted press ride-alongs?
Stay back. I see the press. You're good.
Checking for ID. That's fine. I see you. I recognize you. Put your creds down. You're fine. If you got creds, pull them out.
I got you. Thank you. We know.
So. Oh, you mean like with hand symbols? They use people in the car threatening you with handguns?
Yeah.
Handguns, like threatening.
We know.
So.
Oh, you mean like with hand symbols?
Pulling them out, trying to engage us.
Pulling out literal guns.
No.
Was that an accent, sir? Sir, was that an accent? Dude, unironically, if you started getting an ICE agent's face, like, sir, was that an accent? Can I guess your name? Jesus? Gutierrez? Like, if you could, I swear to God, you could probably get it in 5. Were you born in America?
Yeah. Assuming
call ICE on them? That'd be pretty funny.
That we were going to do something, so that's why they're being ID'd right now.
Yeesh. What the fuck? This covering fire as you retreat.
Fuck you, boy!
Gay-ass dress sneakers. That's not how even actual police act. No, police do not typically get in shouting matches with protesters. They do sometimes, but basically every ICE agent does. Newly released footage from KTLA-5 showing CBP raiding a San Fernando Valley church's food giveaway and abducting a volunteer with their children's ministry. Sure, man. Why not? Gonna like grab a Twinkie on the way out?
The church shared this video. It shows a man being chased by federal agents. North Hills United Methodist Church, along with other religious and community organizations, came together this morning to hold that news conference to denounce immigration enforcement actions after this happened last Thursday. They say federal immigration authorities entered the church parking lot wearing masks and carrying weapons during a food distribution event at the church. According to church members, Carlos Chavez, a beloved community member, was taken into federal custody. The pastor said Chavez was a taco vendor and a father of 3. Church leaders say Chavez ran onto the parking lot as federal agents chased him. They say it was a terrifying and traumatic experience for the children and families who were here and witnessed it.
Keep it up, man. The Catholic bishop in charge of serving U.S. service people openly stated soldiers need to defy illegal orders if they want to remain in communion with God. Yeah, unfortunately, like, no one gives a fuck. There are no, like, everyone in America is Protestant. There are no actual American Catholics. Or I should say, you lose the ability to practice Catholicism in America if you speak without an accent. If you're like a Mexican immigrant, you're a real Catholic. What about J.D. Vance? Like I said, not a real Catholic. J.D. Vance is an evangelical, just like the rest of the Tradcasts. Well, they're actually atheists. J.D. Vance obviously doesn't believe in God. Nobody acting like him would. The Pope? The Pope spent most of his life in Latin America.
To tell you this, so I'm just going to tell you it like this. I'm going to explain to you exactly why every white person in this country who voted for Trump is a racist piece of shit. I'm going to tell you that right now. How do you wink at a nigger? How do you wink at a nigger?
Oh my God, please stop.
All right, motherfuckers. I learned that from a...
This is an interesting rhetorical strategy. Let's see how it goes.
A 10-year-old son of a police detective in my hometown growing up. His father, a police detective. His best friend, another fucking police detective. All right? My entire existence growing up, yeah, walk away. Walk away. Do it. Walk away. We're coming. Everyone's in the streets. All right? I never heard either one of these detectives say anything other than the N-word when they were talking about...
I feel like he's really poorly establishing the case here. Like, you should probably open with, here's what I heard these guys say, and not just, like, lead with the language. You know what I mean?
Black people. Not once. Not once ever. Now, if you think that's a vile joke that I just told you, I already told you guys in meetings in the past.
It is Florida.
I got 50 fucking more. I learned them all by the time I was 10. Guys. Yo. Fuck ICE. If you don't wake the fuck up to what is happening right now, you don't deserve this country. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Fuck ICE and fuck CPB. You guys better pay attention to what the fuck is happening. I don't know what's wrong with all you privileged assholes who sit on your ass and don't get out in the streets and protest this shit.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman. All right. Thank you, Councilman.
It's over.
And it's being put in my face, and I find it offensive. So I'll personalize it for you, that even though I understand that you're trying to make a statement, I actually don't understand it, but it appears as though you're trying to make a statement. And in addition to that, I share some of those feelings about what is going on in the greater world. I do say that as a white man, you should not be saying the N-word in any context, and I take great offense to it. And I think,
yeah, it was a misfire, lads. It was a misfire. He tried. He tried his best. Patriot down. Oh, are we averting a government shutdown?
Hell of a lot of tax. I paid tens of millions of dollars. I said, where are my accountants? I want to talk to my accountants. But they did. They leaked my tax return. They didn't do it in a nice way. They tried to get something out of it. No, they're bad people.
Accountability is coming, though. You think about the phone companies that leaked our telephone records, several of us here.
Right.
Verizon leaked my telephone records. You think about what's happened across the country. This is going to come to an end.
And we should have voter ID, by the way. We should have a lot of the things that I think everybody wants to see. Who would not want voter ID? Only somebody that wants to cheat. Think of it. We don't have voter ID. And the Democrats don't want it. And the reason they don't want it is because they want to cheat. Because there's no reason in the world, and I love that debate, Lindsay. I love saying, well, why don't you want voter ID? And you watch them say, I don't know, I just
make them vote.
No, it's a terrible thing. So anyway, anybody else?
Well, Mr. President, you said you wanted to make America safer and more prosperous, and we have done it. More prosperity means more money in people's pockets, and they notice that every time they go to fill up with gas, and they're going to know it when they get their tax returns that this year are going to be at least $1,000, if not more, greater than it's been in the past, and that's a result of the work that you've done with this whole group. And in terms of America being safer, a number of us were at the border 2 weeks ago. The border is secure. No one is coming across, not the 10,000 we saw every day with Joe Biden. And the American people still, in overwhelming numbers, Republicans, Democrats, and independents all say illegal immigrant criminals need to be deported. And, Mr. President, you're doing that.
And no tax.
Sorry about that. Your no-bid contracts have been denied. You actually did not glaze him enough there. That was only 7 consecutive delusional compliments.
No tax on Social Security.
No tax on
more money.
Look, everyone else here laughs, but he looks flustered because he's genuinely worried that he did not glaze Trump enough, and now he's in deep water. This isn't a joke. Everyone else is like, haha. He's like, fuck. Yeah, you're right, sir. I apologize for not bringing that up, sir.
Thank you.
No tax on tips. That thing that hasn't happened. The thing that's not real that we keep talking about.
And that was all the great big beautiful bill, as I call it, the great big beautiful bill. To me, that's what it is. And people are starting to realize it now. They're starting to see it. And a tax deduction on if you buy a car, if it's made in America, only if it's made in America. The rest we don't care about so much. But you buy a car, you get an interest deduction. You borrow money, you get an interest tax deduction. And that is, you take interest, you deduct it against your tax. So to me, that's unbelievable for the people, unbelievable for our car companies, which is jobs. Anybody else out there?
Mr. President, the biggest part of this bill is our national security.
Right.
And thank you. The men and women who serve this country are grateful to you. We give them a pay raise. We're building more ships, as you said, planes, missiles.
Did Mamdani Riz Trump by Negium? Why do people think flattery works for them? I think Trump views the world as being filled with either it's two types of people, chumps and equals. And I think that Trump thinks that basically all of these people are in the chump category. They're marks, they're rubes, right? So from them he only wants flattery. Like he sees them as tools that he can use for self-aggrandizement. But I think that every once in a while you see that Trump recognizes what he considers to be an equal or somebody he actually respects, and then you get a totally different set of behavioral protocols, I think. Though I can't really think of many examples, other people who he treats this way besides Mamdani, you know? I think a lot of it is because the entire Republican Party folded over for him. I think he said something to that effect once. He said Putin, I don't think Putin. I think maybe he thought Putin for a bit, but now not so much. See, a lot of these relationships don't like get sustained for very long because it's really, really difficult to keep that equilibrium with him. Remember when he said that he was disappointed in the Democrats because they haven't even put up a fight? After he got elected in the second time, he was like, I expected more from them, but basically they're not even doing anything, you know? I think that to an extent he does enjoy the rapport. I mean, think of it from his perspective, man. He's super, super old, and he's on top of the world, like literally, essentially. For his entire life, he was like wheeling and dealing, you know? He was like LARPing out this dream of being this like big East Coast tycoon, you know, the art of the deal, make a deal here, etc. But he doesn't really have a rival, which I think kind of bothers him. Yeah, it is why he talks about Biden so much.
We need to defend this country, and you're doing a great job in leading us in the right direction.
Thank you very much. Katie, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, no, Mr. President, this is just unprecedented leadership. The fact that you got everyone to come together and actually get these bills across the finish line, you heard it from the Speaker that that hasn't happened in a long time. So 96% of the government being funded, your priorities put in place, Mr. President, so that we can make the country safer, we can make it more prosperous. And not only can we make America great again, but we can tell people now America is back.
Yeah, it's a great, we'll never forget MAGA, and we're all with MAGA, but I thought this was very appropriate, right?
Love it.
Right?
Love it. Says everything.
Cindy Hyde, come on, say something.
Well, there's a little hospital in here, a rural hospital in Maple, Mississippi,
right,
called Franklin County Hospital. It would have closed the end of this month without this bill. Thank you from everybody in Mississippi, especially Franklin County.
And we've covered the rural very well. Nobody ever thought it was possible because we had a lot of opposition from the Democrats, as you know, but nobody thought it was possible. That's great. How about it? Anybody back there? Tom?
Best budget for Native Americans ever, Mr. President.
Thank you. So we'll sign it, and if you would have some questions, or anybody up here.
Let me just piggyback. This rural America is taken care of.
Everyone nobody wants to be the guy who didn't glaze Trump at the chance they got. A lot of these guys, they're not in the company of Trump very often. Obviously, like Mike Johnson's around Trump nonstop. But, you know, for a lot of these people, it's like, well, here's my chance to, like, the difference between them glazing Trump and not could literally mean millions and millions of dollars of corporate contracts down the road, tax exemptions, stuff like that, you know?
This bill, and I mean, as Cindy says. So.
Oh, sorry, man. You were too slow and too boring. He just turned around on you. It's over. It's over. Your family holdings have been repossessed by the state. Your farm will be burned and its crops distributed amidst the garrison. It's over for you. Okay. Your banner will be removed from the Hall of Kings before the throne.
Thank you for all America, but especially rural America.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Doesn't even turn to look at him. Oh, it's so fucking over. It's so... A green suit? What are you doing, man? You know Trump's a Navy suit kind of guy. Everyone else here dresses exactly like him. Look at his face. It's like, oh no. I'm gonna have to sell my daughters. Oh, man. Fuck, that's so funny.
So I probably won't hold this up. And I think holding up one little page doesn't do it justice. In there, it's a lot of stuff, but it's signed. Thank you.
Yay. $3.3 billion to Israel, right? In this version of the House bill, $3.3 billion to Israel? Yeah, gotcha. Thank you. Very good.
Thank you. On Iran, are the negotiations still happening this week?
Yeah.
Where will they be?
$1.5 billion to Egypt, $2.1 billion to Jordan. Dude, Thomas Massey is such a mixed bag. It's crazy because he'll be like, Thomas Massey will be like, "Join me, proletariat, as we liberate America from the throes of its elite pedo caste and their their Israeli masters." And I'm like, yeah. I oppose this bill with its $3.3 billion to Israel. Yeah. 500 million more for Israel, 1.5 billion for Egypt, 2.1 billion for Jordan. Yeah, Thomas Massey, yeah, you say it. Nearly 700 million for foreign HIV and AIDS. No, Massey, that's fine. That's saving lives. No, that's really good though. Not only does it affirm American soft power and our self-interest, but it saves hundreds of thousands of lives and also like allows these countries to get more of a footing so they can develop their own healthcare industry. Like right now they can't even do that, but we're giving them a bit of a prop up, you know? Oh no. $5 billion plus to provide cash benefits, healthcare, daycare, and job programs to refugees and the taxpayers' dime. That's good. That's a good thing, Thomas Massey. Oh. Well. We know who he is.
The rollover, they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something's going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
Mr. President, where will the meeting be? It seems like
I can't tell you that.
Mr. President,
They believe the AIDS and refugee stuff is a black budget labeling for Israel. Why the fuck would we need to black budget label for Israel when we just give them money openly, you know? No, Thomas Massey just does not think we should spend money saving lives abroad. He is a libertarian. The reason he's fine with not subsidizing HIV medication is he hopes the pedophiles get HIV victims. Oh, shit! Massey, you genius! It's a dangerous game. You're a high roller at the table, but this might actually work. Fellas, I've got a plan to take down the deep state, the elite cabal of pedophiles. It's gonna be it's dirty work, but somebody's got to do it.
There's more than one meeting. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, how was your meeting with Gustavo Petro earlier today, and did you come to any agreement on counter-narcotic efforts?
Yeah, we did. We worked on it, and we got along very well. He and I weren't exactly the best of friends, but I wasn't insulted because I'd never met him. I didn't know him at all. We got along very well, and we're working on that. We're working on some other things, too, including sanctions. And yeah, we had a very good meeting.
So you did an agreement?
I thought it was terrific. Yeah, it was very good. We got along great.
Mr. President, can you give us any update on how the talks are going for potential changes to the Department of Homeland Security? Have you agreed to any specifics?
None. Well, we have a secure border. In fact, we have 9 months now where nobody has come into our country illegally. Now, I don't know if I can believe that because, you go from 25 million people to nobody, but the Democrats do that. They're leaning left, the people that do that report. And for 9 months, they have said nobody has come into our. It is a strong, great border. We do have people coming into our country, but they're all coming in legally. You take a look at that and look at what was going on a year and a half ago on our border, where criminals were coming in, drug dealers were coming in, people from mental institutions were coming in. The worst, they say the worst, I don't even know if I like the term, but the worst of the worst was coming into our country. And now we have virtually our country it's beautiful to see. Even if you go down, some of you, I think, were down there a couple of weeks ago, and you couldn't believe it, right? Because you were there 2 years ago.
10,000 a day.
And 10,000 a day, and now you didn't even see anybody. Nobody comes up with saving lives because nobody comes up. They have to come through the jungles, and they're dying of all sorts of problems, including murder.
He saw Pluribus.
And we have nobody coming in, and we're getting people out. That we have 11,888.
Watching The Gap. This is what I saved them from. Millions and millions of people every day. They were making this journey. It was very bad. It was not wise. They were falling on the spiky trees. No helicopters were around to save them. Do you think that if Trump watched Pluribus, he would understand the plot? Like, do you think cognitively he could understand? I feel like he'd be confused the entire time. Like, he legitimately would not know what was going on with the whole hive mind thing. He wouldn't get it.
Murderers who came into our country, we're getting them out fast. And the only place where there's a little bit of a problem, and I will tell you this, Minnesota, their crime because of us, because we've taken out thousands of criminals, their crime is down. Not because of anybody else, it's because of us. Their crime is down. But all over the country, wherever we're involved, we're getting criminals out of our country, and the crime rate now is the lowest it's been since 1900. That's 125 years, and that's despite the fact with an open border stupid policy, 25 million people, in my opinion, came into our country, and many of those people should not have been allowed to come into our country.
On Ukraine, Mr. President, yesterday you were talking about how Vladimir Putin had agreed to a pause during the cold weather. Overnight, those attacks have started up again. The worst.
It was Sunday to Sunday, and it opened up, and he hit him hard last night. No, he agreed. He kept his word on that. It's a lot. 1 week is, we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. But it was on Sunday, and he went from Sunday to Sunday.
Are you disappointed he didn't go further or go?
I would like to. I want him to end the war. I spoke to him. I want him to end the war.
Mr. President, thank you for taking our questions. What exactly did you mean when you said that you should nationalize elections, and which 15 states are you talking about?
I want to see elections be honest.
D-Man has a pretty good spiel about how fluid these migration numbers are for Trump. I've genuinely considered like watching some of his debate stuff because I don't understand what there is to talk about with conservatives these days. Like, all of them lie about everything, and they all know they're lying, and all of their fans know they're lying. And they think it's based that they're all lying because somehow by lying, they're owning you, even though the average conservative who hate watches me or Destiny is far, far more hurt by the economic downturn in this country than Destiny or I would be, because we're both well off. I don't like it's unfathomable. Like, genuinely, there's a lower cognitive level. They're operating from the toilet. I don't understand. It's like these fucking sub-hominids that mimic speech in effort to distract or provoke people. I just don't understand what you can do there. I don't get it. Recently, Dusty just been shaming conservatives. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Because what the fuck they all are aware of the fact that they're just making it up. It's like a prompt for them. It's like yes-anding. They're improving the argument. They don't have any, you'll never hit at a point. Dude, right now, the entire online right wing is like slow pitching a pivot to defending Epstein. Seriously.
If a state can't run an election, I think the people behind me should do something about it. Because, if you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government...
Why can't he be arrested just for this? Fuck the 10th Amendment. I guess fuck the literal entire Constitution. Like, not just one part of it. The state is an agent of the federal government? Are you on its own, every fucking state attorney general should be deploying marshals to the White House. Sir, they're coming in. You fucking pulls up the submarine, green sonar map showing the fucking incursions of Marshall forces, like missiles headed towards the White House. It's insane you can just say this.
Doesn't do them anyway. But when you see some of these states about how horribly they run their elections, what a disgrace it is, I think the federal government, when you see crooked elections, and we had plenty of them, and by the way, we had them last time, but go to 2020 and look at the facts that are coming out. Rigged, crooked elections. If we have areas, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Pennsylvania, take a look at Philadelphia. You go take a look at Atlanta. Look at some of the places that horrible corruption on elections. And the federal government should not allow that. The federal government should get involved. These are agents of the federal government to count the votes. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take
But the
over.
Constitution says it should be states that administer elections, Mr. President. That's what the Constitution
You know what?
says.
They can administer the election, but they have to do it honestly.
Are you open to
No follow-up to that? No follow-up to that?
negotiating on warrants when it comes to ICE? This is an ask from Senator Schumer. Requiring search warrants for ICE and immigration officials.
I haven't even done it. I'm not thinking about search warrants. Yeah, Lindsey Graham is going to answer that.
No, it makes no sense. If we have to get a search warrant to get 15 million people out, Schumer's telling me he doesn't want them out. It's the most ridiculous idea. They do have some good ideas, I think. But I've got a better idea. It's your idea. In sanctuary cities. On immigration, I know what I'm talking about. I've got the scars to prove it. Y'all are playing like Biden didn't exist. Y'all won't tell the American people about Lake and Riley. It's a one-sided debate. For 4 years, our border was obliterated. They let them come in by the tens of millions, and they want to go back that way. We're not going. So, Mr. President, stick to your guns. If you
I mean, the thing with Lindsey is that he could be eating Trump's ass for flattery or for pleasure. So I guess we'll never know.
got reforms that make ICE better, more professional, talk to me. But you should embrace what I'm suggesting. As long as 12 states have sanctuary policy, they'll keep coming. Unfortunately, you won't be president forever. These magnets of illegal immigration have to go. There is no upside to sanctuary city unless you're a complete radical nut job. The cops hate it, fraud around sanctuary cities, and you're going to get more illegal immigration. We'll have a debate. I've been trying to solve this problem, but what the Democrats are doing is they're not getting to the underlying problem. It's not Stephen Miller. It's not Chrissy Nome. It's not me. It's not you. It's policies that have been on the books that don't work.
Is this not embarrassing for these people, man? Like, for everyone here, just like having to sit through this pathetic charade with every one of them. But like, this is like super over the line.
So if you want to debate on how to solve this problem, show up next week. I'm going to take President Trump's idea that it's time to end the insane policy of sanctuary cities. We're going to take it to the floor and we're going to vote.
Trump's like,
and
shut
people
up.
in November are going to get
Bored,
to see
tired,
who
bored.
they trust
Shut up.
to keep the border secure. Schumer or Trump? I'm with Trump.
Mr. President, and by the way, I hope you're going to press that very hard. And the other thing, we are with you. I think everybody's with you. It's a sanctuary for criminals. That's who it is. They could make our lives so much easier. All they have to do is hand over their criminals, hand over people that came into our country illegally that are murderers, that came out of jails, that came out of mental institutions, that are drug dealers. I can't believe in Minnesota that they want to have murderers walking all over the streets. I just don't believe it. Maybe somebody says it's good politics. I don't think it's good politics. I think it's really bad. The other thing we can't lose sight of is you probably have in Minnesota, and it's worse in some places like California, $19 billion in fraud. And we're going to find out,
Wow, look at that. It's 2 p.m. That's good. It's good to get a reminder now and again of how these people talk. Oh, I did catch this clip, though, while we're on the subject of the whole nationalize the election thing, which we're going to be hearing more and more of leading up to the midterms. By the way. Remember how I said, like, Thune and like wants to have a career after Trump, and Mike Johnson doesn't seem to care as much?
Follow up on elections. The president says that he wants Republicans to nationalize elections. Do you agree with him? And do you have confidence in how elections are conducted right now, heading into the midterm?
We have thoughtful debate about our election system every election cycle and sometimes in between. We know it's in our system. The states have been in charge of administering their elections. What you're hearing from the president is his frustration about the lack of some of the blue states, frankly, of enforcing these things and making sure that they are free and fair elections. We need constant improvement on that front. I don't know what the ultimate solution is going to be. I'm not going to get ahead of the negotiations here, but I think that is something that's going to be a continuing theme here. It's something that we'll continue to push, and we hope the governors will insist upon that same thing as well. In some of the states, like in California, for example, I mean, they hold the elections open for weeks after Election Day. That's just one thing that bothers so many people. We had 3 House Republican candidates who were ahead on Election Day in the last election cycle. And every time a new tranche of ballots came in, they just magically whittled away until their leads were lost. And no series of ballots that were counted.
They're gonna do the 2020 election stolen thing on every single fucking flipped seat in the midterms. It's gonna be like they're at a huge disadvantage rhetorically too, because they now can't do it off of single candidates. They're going to lose so many seats in the House that they're gonna have to, like, here's the 53 elections where Democrats stole everything. Like it's oversaturation of the info, you know? But it's all they're going to do. They're going to do it everywhere. They're going to do it in red states, too. You know, somehow Democrats, you know, flip the script into red states. Oh, it's because they have a blue mayor in this city, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
After Election Day, were our candidates ahead on any of those counts? It looks on its face to be fraudulent. Can I prove that? No, because it happened so far upstream. But we need more confidence in the American people in the election system, and it's essential. And everybody, no matter what party you're in, should agree with that. The you know, mass mailing of paper ballots or mail-in ballots and all the other irregularities that have haunted us over the last couple of cycles, we need to tighten that up. Now, the red states have done a lot of good work in that front, but it's the blue states that I'm frankly concerned about. So we'll see how the law is modified and what's changed, but I hope we can get consensus to get that done. Yeah.
Phenomenal stuff, truly. I saw that, Masaigu, but unfortunately, I really do have to go. Sorry for the short stream today, guys, but in fairness, I warned you multiple times in stream and also in the title. I love you all very much. Please take care. And yeah, for anyone who donated, I will read it tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow, normal stream tomorrow. But I gotta do D&D prep. Gotta do D&D prep. So yeah, take care. I'll see you guys soon.